In today's second of two Premier League games, Brentford host Nottingham Forest, and the Brentford head coach Thomas Frank has confirmed that Ivan Toney will start today. The England striker has served his 8-month suspension for breaking betting regulations, and Frank had this to say in his pre-match press conference yesterday.
He's buzzing. He's like a 8-year-old boy. Just want to go out and play, maybe his first football game, or just that pure joy of playing football, and that's what he wants. I'm looking into the eyes of a player that are very committed, very excited, and can't wait. And I think I can break it now. He will start tomorrow. He will also lead the team out of the tunnel. He will be the captain because Christian is injured. So I'm pretty sure he is ready.
Okay, so that's what Thomas Frank had to say, and confirming then he's going to be captain because Christian Norgard, the normal skipper, is injured. Let's get your thoughts on it. First of all, obviously he's going to start, as we've heard. Captain the side as well. What do you make of that decision?
You're a Brentford fan. You've got to answer this before me. Okay, you're a fan. What did you make of the decision, Nat?
I don't see a problem with it, in all fairness. I mean, I know, because I've heard it and I've seen it. He is a leader on the pitch. He's a leader in the dressing room. I know there are certain antics. There are certain things that he has said in interviews over the course of the last months, shall we say, where he has said things that may well rile a few Brentford fans, i.e. talking about moving on and wanting to play at a high level, for example. But when it comes to what he does on the pitch, I get it. I get why you'd want him as a captain. Like I say, he is a very important figure, somebody that a lot of players will look up to and will listen to. So I kind of get it, and I kind of get that if you're going to play, if you're going to start, I'm going to give you an extra bit of
responsibility.
Because I feel as though you need that. You need something else extra to focus on. So I kind of get where Thomas Frank is coming from. Like I say, I've seen a lot of non-Brentford fans as well sort of saying, the amount of disrespect this player has given to this club, why on earth would you be giving him the captaincy, for example? But at the end of the day, Thomas Frank is just wanting results. And if he thinks he can get the best out of Ivan Toney as captain as well, then Thomas Frank knows best.
Well, when Carlos Tevez, stay with me here, when he left Man United to go Man City, Keir Jarotkin was his agent. He'd done all the deal. And they would find it very difficult to get it over the line. And the ultimate one was offering Tevez the captaincy at Manchester City because they wanted to give him the responsibility of how important it was that they signed him. Now, I feel like Thomas Frank has probably thought about this and gone, do you know what? I'm going to put a lot of responsibility on him because he's been missing for 3 or 4 months for us this season. Well, probably closer to 5 now. And it's coming back from a 9-month ban. Now, Eric Cantona, as far as I can remember, I can't remember how well he done in that period when he came back, but that was a massive thing when he came back for Manchester United. I think the same sort of thing is applying in a lesser scale because obviously Brentford and Toney is not like Eric Cantona and Man United. But how he will do, adrenaline will get him through the early doors. I think it's a real tough one to expect him to hit the ground running and go goals off. I think that's a really big ask. So giving him a bit more responsibility and a lot more to think about the team, obviously, will there be benefits from that? I think Thomas Frank is crossing his fingers and hoping that will.
No, and I get that. And also, I'm a bit like you. I'm sort of tempering expectations. I was very fortunate to be at Thomas Frank's press conference yesterday. It was the busiest a press conference has ever been, probably, at Brentford, because of so much talk about Ivan Toney. And I think, let's say 95... Well,
the whole press conference was Ivan Toney.
Well, 95% of it was all on Ivan Toney. And I did ask a question, Gus, which was along the lines of, I asked about, are you having to play it down a little bit? Even though he's talking so positively, Thomas Frank, about the return of Ivan Toney, he was even saying, I think he'll score tomorrow, I think he'll do this tomorrow. And I was thinking, you're putting a lot on one player. And surely this also feeds into Nottingham Forest. They'll be thinking, okay, then we just nullify Ivan Toney and that's it, game over. And so part of me was just thinking, do you also need to just play it down a little bit? Because You are putting a lot of pressure on one person to deliver with Brentford going through a bad run of form as well. But he was very much like, that's not my nature. I'm not going to do that. My gut feeling is he's looked at Ivan Toney since he was at Peterborough. He's played a big part and he's felt every challenge in front of him, he's delivered. So he's gone from a League One player to a Championship player, from a Championship player to a Premier League player. Yeah. One of the biggest things that Ivan Toney did, in my opinion, is when he had his first season in the Premier League, he done really well. The next season was even better. And that's the thing I think Thomas Frank feels I can put a lot of weight and pressure on this lad, and he's never buckled. And I think that's why he's probably done it and feels like I'm giving the ultimate. Thomas Frank is obviously nervous about getting too close to relegation. So he's trying to create this lift and who... Absolutely. I mean, Ivan Toney comes over as a very confident lad. And not in an arrogant way, not in a way that, it makes you feel like, I can deliver. I do think there's an arrogance type.
Yeah, but it's a nice... No, it's a nice arrogance. It's not like a...
Yeah, it's not a bad thing.
No, I find it fine with him. And I just think he's feeling, Thomas Frank feels, we need a massive lift. This is it. Now I'm going to give him total backing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's why.
It's going to be tough for him to do it, but he's, like I said, he's got over a lot of obstacles because when you've been a League One player and every level you go up, you get questioned, are you good enough? And he's proved it time in, time out.